51. The Americas. 1. Where? South America. When? 4,000 years ago to 500 years ago. South America is dominated by two features, the Andes Mountains and the Amazon rainforest. The first people arrived in the Americas around 14,000 years ago, from Asia, crossing over a land bridge during the last ice age. Around 5,000 years ago, they learned how to grow maize and other crops such as beans, squash, and potatoes. The earliest civilization in Mesoamerica was the Olmec, who are famous for creating huge stone heads showing their rulers. In South America, the Chavin built large ceremonial cities and developed the potato as a major crop. 52. The Americas. 2. After the Olmec declined, the Maya civilization came to dominate Mesoamerica. The Maya lived in city-states that were constantly at war with each other. The Maya believed that their gods needed blood to stay healthy. Captured soldiers were often sacrificed on top of temples built in their cities. Maya traded items like obsidian, a type of sharp stone, and cacao, which was used as a kind of money. Maya played a type of ball game that they adopted from the Olmec. Losers would sometimes be sacrificed. Constant warfare was very damaging to land and to the Maya people. Around 900 AD, many Maya began leaving their cities and returned to the countryside. 53. The Americas. 3. The Maya were famous for their calendars. One was used for farming and had 365 days in a year. The other was used for religious purposes and had 260 days. The Maya were also one of the first peoples to develop a symbol for zero. The Maya also developed a writing system using hieroglyphics. These were carved into buildings and stones. One book, the Popol Vuh, records much of Maya history. The Aztecs were originally from northern Mexico. They moved south and settled on an island in the middle of Lake Texcoco. In their early days, they hired themselves out to other tribes as fighters. Slowly, the Aztecs conquered their neighbors and forced them to pay tribute. The Aztec capital city of Tenochtitlan was built on Lake Texcoco. The Aztecs also created artificial islands called chinampas, which allowed them to grow food. 54. The Americas. 4. In the late 1400s, the Spanish conquistadors, led by Hernan Cortes, arrived in Aztec territory. They managed to conquer Tenochtitlan after capturing the Aztec emperor. The Spanish were able to do this because they had steel weapons, horses, cannons, and unknown to them, diseases which would, in a few short years, wipe out 90% of the native population of the Americas. Like the Maya, Aztec society was led by royalty, who had a class of nobles and priests to assist them. The Aztecs also practiced human sacrifice on a massive scale. The Aztecs also had a writing system. Their books were called codices, however, many were destroyed by the Spanish. Ordinary Aztecs were divided into communities called cowpoles, each of which had a leader. Cowpoles grew their own food and created items for the ruling class. 55. The Americas. 5. In the mid-1400s, the Incas began to create an empire in the Andes Mountains. When the Incas conquered a new area, they made the conquered leaders move out of their lands, and they moved in more loyal people. The children of defeated leaders were taken to the Inca capital of Cuzco to learn Inca customs and culture. The Incas created an official language, Quechua, to make communication easier. They also created a system called quipus to store records using knots tied in different colors of string. Ordinary Incas had to pay their taxes in the form of work. This was called the maita. Government officials controlled all food and products in the empire. Most Incas were farmers who grew potatoes. Incas also kept llamas for food and wool. However, they weren't good for transportation. 56. The Americas. 6. The Inca were skilled builders who could cut huge stones so finely that they didn't need to be held together with cement. The Inca also created large amounts of jewelry out of gold. The Inca worshipped the sun. Kings were vital as they performed many ceremonies. When royals died, their bodies were mummified and were often brought out during religious events. Inca believed that their rulers never really died. In the 1530s, the Spanish, under Francisco Pizarro, arrived in the Inca Empire. They captured the Inca emperor and held him captive. Even though he filled a room full of gold for them, he was still executed. In 1537, the Spanish completed their conquest of the Inca Empire. They used their horses, guns, and steel weapons to defeat the much larger Inca army. In the next 50 years, 90% of Inca would die of disease.